Welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. Let me give it just a minute because it's taken its time opening up on Facebook. It's almost there.
It's there.
Not everywhere though. I'm watching where it's opening on the different pages. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Soul Food Book Club. We are here today to talk about an amazing book, sometimes confusing book, but that's the power of books that make us think. Our attendees today for this meeting are Charlie Coons. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, everyone.
I love that you're wearing your shirt that Auntie Jean got you.
Yeah.
And there's our Auntie Jean with your beautiful heart portal.
Hello, everyone.
And Linda Lemieux.
Hello.
And we have Gracie driving on the road.
Hello.
So I'm going to let you focus. All right. So the book we are reading is Loving What Is by Byron Katie. Oh, thank you for holding it up. I have it on my Kindle.
Take me. Well, there you go. I'm not going to undo that because my room is not as neat as Teri's. So,
well, I wanted to show everybody your beautiful altar there behind me.
oh, yes, I love my altar.
Yes, this is my room here at the L'Oreal household. And it has a beautiful energy, as does our Auntie Jean. So, loving what is. Sometimes it's a difficult thing to do that, isn't it? As we've all had to come to realize as this book has made us think about it. And I know, Jean, that we've talked about some of your struggles with situations and how hard it is sometimes to turn that around, which is what the author tries to get us to think about doing. How can we turn that around? How can we love what is, even though, you know, when we approach it with our human self and our human brain, it's unlovable according to us. But how do we turn it around? So let's have some discussion about what you have come to love about the book, what you've come to hate about the book, and how this book can really help us in our human existence. So I'll just open up the room to whoever wants to speak.
I have to admit, I haven't been reading much lately, but it tries to change your perspective. And it's very hard when you're stuck in a rut or a certain way of thinking to change. So it's very helpful that way. It gives you some practical questions to ask.
Kind of like an outside observer, isn't it, Linda?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're kind of thinking your own little stinky thoughts, but you're also trying to think other thoughts as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're either believing your thoughts or questioning them. There's no other choice. That's one of the quotes from chapter 2, right before it. They give little quotes before each chapter, and that's the quote right there. So,
yeah,
yep.
And Charlie, doesn't that flow right along with Ali O'Shea's teaching to us that a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking? So if we stay in that stinking thinking, as Linda mentioned, and the things that are of low vibration and not for our best and highest good, then that belief just gets further and further ingrained in us. And read that sentence again, Charlie, because I think that's very important for us to hear.
You're either believing your thoughts or questioning them.
Yeah.
There's no other choice.
No other choice, right?
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought, I'm sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
No, that's right at the beginning on page 10, whatever, yeah. Right before chapter 2.
That's hard to find on the Kindle.
Oh, okay.
But what I was going to say about you bringing up Ali, actually, you know, the more I think about this book, kind of what she's saying is what Allie said, is that we've lost ourselves. We don't live in who we truly are. We live in all that's going on around us, and the things that have happened to us have made us, like Charlie said, think these things about ourselves that aren't true, you know. And as I've told you, which, you know, as I alternate between being mad at her and then being pleased by what she does, because there are some times when I don't want to alter my thinking, you know. I'm like, how do you tell someone, like some of the people she's worked with, that were so ingrained into their own belief that they were right, and that, you know, that, like the one that borrowed the money from the uncle and invested it and lost all of it, you know. And to me, that kind of person who thinks that, you know, it wasn't him that did it, it was the uncle's fault, you know. How do you get them to reverse their thinking and realize they were the one that made the mistake?
Right.
But she does, and she does, you know, a really good job of it. And I at first I will say, you know, no, there's no way he's gonna reverse his thinking on that. He's just too, he's just too
it took a
egotistical by
while.
himself.
It took a while, but he's
But
you
she
know,
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
she did.
yeah.
So it's amazing to me that, like all of the books we've read, are kind of in the same direction, moving us into the same direction of finding who we really, really, truly are, and living that person, not living the ideas and the thoughts and what society and the illusion has given us, but being our true being and realizing, you know, the only thing we have control of is ourselves. Not anything else. Anyway, I am enjoying the book.
Yeah, you're so right, Jean, because when we think about it, when we're doing some of the work, and this is work, it's our inner work, it helps us to see that when we put our focus outside of ourselves, that's when we start pointing fingers, don't we? It's somebody else's fault. And if you've ever been in a relationship with people who have certain personalities like narcissism and, you know, are egocentric, that's always the pattern. It's always somebody else's fault. Can never look inside. And that's what we're doing. We're looking inside so that we really can see the full picture. Not, you know, that person did it or made me do it. That person made me do that. You know, how many times in my own life, I'm raising my own hand, have I said, that person made me so mad, or, you know, that person made me sad. Nobody can make us anything other than what we allow. And that's the beauty of doing that inner work and that inner search, is then the focus is not on anything outside of ourselves. It's on, okay, how am I handling my life? How am I dealing with situations in my life, such as some of the examples that she gives in the book. And later on in the book, she's delving into someone who was abused as a child. And that's a tough one, because I know I can resonate with that. You know, it's something that has touched probably most of us, if not all of us that are here, is that type of situation where we're either bullied or abused or neglected or whatever the type of situation is. And how do we turn that around? Because that's huge. And that's something that, you know, it takes sometimes a lifetime to really work through some of those issues. So I love that this book club is more than just a book club. We are a family, and we help each other through some other observer that's coming in, and through their teachings and their writings, we're able to open up and help each other through whatever it is that we're getting the insight on and the aha moments. I love the aha moments from this book, and just, reading some of the stories and how she helped people to turn it around. And I'm going, oh, that sounds so simple. So that's the beauty of what I'm getting from the book, is being able to observe other people working through their progress and their process of understanding. And I'm going, well, if they can do it, I can certainly do that. That's one of the things that's so beautiful about community and learning from each other. It can be done. You go into it with a yes, I can attitude, and you can turn anything around, even abuse. So I really think this book is so powerful for so many people. And, you don't have to have been a victim of abuse. It could be anything in your life, relationship issues, whatever it might be. So just putting that out there. And I want to welcome Christina, who's watching us and listening in.
Hi, Christina. I wanted to tail on to what you said, or add to it. I agree with what you said. Our perspective of ourselves, especially when we're young, does depend a lot on other people and what we're told. So if you are raised or living with a person that's egocentric or narcissistic, the things they say to manipulate you, you start to believe as part of your personality. So it is hard to break that perspective, because you hear it over and over and you start to believe it. An example is, for a long time, I was told I was negative. Well, you know me, I'm not a negative person, or I try not to be anyway. So it's refreshing to find a way to change some of those thoughts that you were kind of tucked into, I guess you might say. I wanted to say it's like peeling an onion. It might make you cry, but it's really flavorful.
So true, Linda. And one of the aspects of that type of relationship is something called gaslighting. Mm-hmm. And when I encountered that, I started to think I was going crazy. I'm like, why don't I remember that? Seriously, I was like, oh my gosh, did I do that? I don't remember that. Or I don't remember saying something. Yeah, exactly. And then, later on, when I understood that personality having to, strike out at somebody else and make you look like, you're the one that did something crazy or insane or abusive. It's like, wow, that is so powerful. If you've never been in a situation like that, it's hard to believe or understand the power of it. But when you're in that situation and you're hearing these things and you're like, I don't remember that. That couldn't have happened. That's not true. So I started to doubt myself. And that's the power. That's the manipulation, isn't it? Mm-hmm. To make you doubt
yourself. If it's day after day, it's, you do start to think you're crazy or doubt yourself. So it's good to get new perspectives.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jean.
Well, it was about you anyway.
About me?
I was just thinking that we have insights into all of our lives and our lives as children in this conversation, except for Charlie. I mean, I know I can gather things from Linda's. I know because there's similarities to mine, and you and Grace Isis. We know a little bit about her childhood, but I don't know anything about yours, Charlie. You've never mentioned like your parents or how your home life was, or does any of this ever relate to your past?
Well, reality was always, I'm just reading another quote from the,
okay.
Reality is always kinder than the stories we tell about them. So,
right. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah. But, mine, I was just a little, a little lost boy, I guess, shy, went to Catholic school until 5th grade, I think. And then we moved, and then I went to a public school. And then I still was an altar boy, and I'd go to church during Lent before I went to public school, and then I'd walk to public school. So I got up early and went to, so I was, a crazy little boy that was, and I was bullied and stuff like most kids or whatever, a little chubby or whatever, I had a couple friends, I wasn't, and, I was good. until I got bad and did all the crazy things, and stuff.
Well, you're not shy anymore.
I'm not shy anymore. Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us.
Yeah, the book, it says, is really good. And no one can hurt me. That's my job.
Whoa.
That's right there. Page 6.
Yeah,
exactly.
6. No one
It's so
can hurt
true.
me. That's my job.
Yeah,
And-
it's so true that no one can hurt us unless we allow it.
And would you rather be right or free? That's the one I'm going to next, I think. Yeah, that's where I'm up to. Would you rather be right or free? And there's no two ways about that. We'd rather be free.
Yeah, but Charlie, I've been with those people who have to be right.
Oh, yeah. Look at our last
yes.
president that we had.
We won't get political on here, but I have been with quite a few people actually that, it's their way or the highway. And their way is always the right way. And there's no discussion, there's no anything. And to me, that's a prison for them, that they can't be open-minded and listen and maybe have an option. So I think there, our thoughts really, it's like Karen says, we can make it a prison or a playground in this life. And which do you choose? Even criticizing and judging others, that's a prison because you're so, you have to be right about it. There can't be another way to look at it. There can't be another option. So yeah, our thoughts can, they can do many things to us, but we have to allow it. We have to allow that in.
You saying that, I realize that I'm attracted to those kind of people. I have been in the past. I think the reason is because I'm not much into astrology, but I'm a Libra. And Libras don't like to make decisions. We hate making decisions. I mean, even where do we go to eat or what time should we go eat or anything like that. So I've been attracted to people who would make decisions for me. But that's not freedom. That's not accepting my own responsibility to make my own decisions in my own life. So I'm trying to learn to be a little bit more me and taking over those reins that are my responsibility, or they're just a choice, they're not so scary or whatever. But, it's amazing how we get ourselves into those situations because of our own little faults, I guess. Yeah. So we're going to go out to eat on New Year's Eve.
You just made a decision. I love that. You're not going to let fear get in the way, right?
Right.
And what time would that be?
Only 5, so we can make it back for chanting.
There you
We'll
go.
get there at 5 and get home in time.
Don't
Chinese
for-
food, it's our tradition.
Don't
New
forget,
Year's
we
Eve.
start a half hour earlier these days.
Be back before 6:30.
There you go. There was another one, the environmental one, I think it was. You remember that story in here about the environmentalist, the woman?
Yes, I remember that.
All right. And then there
And how
was,
yes.
right. And then there was a tin can in the desert or whatever that, you know, and I think she picked it up and people or whatever. And that just reminded me, I used to walk in the park and I'd, pick up the garbage. I'd pick up the bottles because they always had baseball games and everything. And I'd pick up the water bottles and put them in the trash can or whatever. So, like doing your thing towards, she was like, oh, well, the corporations aren't doing enough and, and everything like that. And then turned it around where she wasn't doing enough. And the turnaround, and that one was pretty good too. Yeah.
That resonated with me too, because she was always so angry at the people who didn't do, what they should be doing. And
Right, exactly.
that resonated with me.
Yeah.
I was the mean teacher when we went on picnics at school or field trips. I was always, okay, now everybody, let's go pick up. We're going to pick up everything. We're going to throw it in the trash. We didn't throw that. I don't care. Pick it up. We're all going to pick it up. I give them trash bags and we canvass the area and we pick it all up. So I was kind of the hard, mean teacher, but they have to be trying to do that. They have to realize that the earth is just everybody's and we got to take care of it. And we can't just throw things, so
I'm going to correct you, Dean.
you're going to correct me?
Yes, that is not being mean.
It's not.
That is showing,
Well, to them,
showing by example a good way to help our planet and to preserve what we have. So no, you were not a mean teacher. You were a very observant and using a teaching moment for those kids. And I wonder how many of those children now, as they're grown up, how many of them pick up things off the ground if they see it laying around?
That you do have an influence. Linda can vouch for that. You do have an influence on them. And they do. And you're right. It's as a model, not so much as a boss, but as a model that you're showing them. This is what you should do. And I worry, I'm so egotistical that I think, I wonder if the teachers now are doing these things they're supposed to be doing. I know my daughter is, but I don't know about the others. So.
I know I had one particular class and I see some of the kids around and they know I had a hard time remembering names. So they come up and tell me their name and they said, and I'm not on drugs. I'll say, where did that come from? But I must have said something, use your full potential. Don't get sidetracked on this or that. And to a person, they all say that. And I didn't drill it into them or anything, but they remembered it. So yeah, you do have an influence.
You do.
I admire and respect teachers, and I think that is one of the biggest things that can happen is that teacher can be such a positive influence on the children that they teach. I still remember some of my teachers from high school and the things that they encouraged in us, like reading. My English teacher, Oh my gosh, I loved her so much. And she was always encouraging us to expand our horizon through books. And, and she would let us choose books to read so that, it wasn't something, oh, I have to read this book. It was like, oh, I want to read this. And I think that has stood, it stood with me all these years. There were times when I would be reading 3 or 4 books at a time. I'd read a few chapters in one and close that and go to another one. So that love for reading was really instilled in me at a young age. And I think it's so important that the teachers realize they do have a big influence. Like you said, Linda, it's a huge opportunity to shape a life in a positive way.
And that's what this book's doing. It's teaching us, how what we think isn't real. Some of the thoughts we think aren't real. And, getting back to reality with everything.
That very first question. Sorry, Jean, that very first question, is it true? Is it true? Is it true that you keep disappearing, Jean?
I do. I disappear a lot. I disappeared that time because someone came in and opened all the doors and left and didn't close any of them. So I had to get
wonder
out
who
of
that
there.
is.
Yes,
That finger.
it wasn't the dog. So you can guess who it is. But I do disappear a lot. If you watch, and you should watch Michelle's program.
Tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock today. Watch Michelle Lander's program. It's all about next year. Numerology and astrology included. About next
so it's on the
year.
30th.
It is fabulous. Huh?
On the 30th at 3 o'clock Eastern. Yes.
Okay.
Today's the 30th.
And Jean kept disappearing.
I did. I disappeared a lot. Yes. And I thought it would be annoying, but she said it was okay.
Well, she was able to use that in her teaching.
That is true.
And her message for us about disappearing and being seen and relationships.
So do watch it, guys. It's really wonderful. So would that be what time our time? It would be
1 o'clock our time.
Well, we're barely going to get off of here and have to watch that.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. I was looking forward to Chinese food tomorrow, and it's not.
No, that's Friday.
Friday. Oh, shucks. Okay.
You can do it all, Jean.
Yes, I need a walking schedule. If look at the door, Teri. I have the programs written on the door at what time they are and everything. See
her little schedule she's got written out, but she's not in here. I am.
But she's in there now, and so I can't see my schedule.
I need to bring it to you, Jean.
No, it's okay.
Did you go on Facebook to Enlightened World Living to see it?
For what?
Michelle's program.
It will be there tomorrow on, yes. Enlightened
and
World.
YouTube, isn't it?
I'm asking for the people that are watching that may not know where to go to see it.
Yeah, Light World Network.
Yes, Enlightened World Network on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
At the same time. Yes.
Okay. Tomorrow.
That's an astrologist, correct?
No, she is a numerologist. But she does touch on astrology. She has some people that she's close to that she shared some of their predictions as well for astrology.
Okay.
Yep.
It's amazing.
She's the number lady.
You'll hear it say, I know it's true. It's true. Yeah.
And that number lady is excited about our retreat in Vermont and wants to be there to teach us about numbers.
Oh.
Yeah, Linda, I think weren't you at Angel Speakers when she spoke?
I was there and she was excellent.
Yeah.
And she has a book, right?
She has the book called The Tao of Numbers. And maybe we should
That's a new one.
read that book. What do y'all think?
She also has a new one, Teri. That's her first one. Now she's got a second one. And I'd love to read one of her books. I really did.
Do you happen to remember the name of the new one?
No, but I can find out.
Oh, we can find out. She'll probably mention it tomorrow.
She has, well, I know she has the new one that just came out, but she also has another book. She has the number book, which is The Tao of Numbers. And she has a book called The Art of Living Miraculously. And I'm not sure what the new book is about, Jean. I haven't information on that.
Yes. Well, I know
But
that
I know
one
she's
has a lot.
amazing and she's funny. You're just going to love her at the
She's
retreat,
so
those of you that
funny.
are going to attend that. And I'm
So if we-
hoping that people will be able to
And-
sit with her and she can do
And
your
her
numbers
name?
reading.
Her name for our listeners out there?
Michelle Landers.
One L.
Hers.
Michelle with one L. And her
One L.
website is michellelanders.com. And you can find all of her information on there and how to reach out to her. And she says she's offering a special right now on your numerology chart for anybody. I've had mine done. Wow. I was blown away because I didn't realize that like your date of birth, your time of birth, your place of birth, all of that shows you like pretty much your whole life. You can just like read about things in your life and things in the time that you're in currently, your next month's year, for your life. It's all shown there in the numbers. It's amazing. And everything that she put in my chart that came up, it all came true. It was like, wow. I didn't know that you could do that, but it's a real thing, this numerology. So if you've never looked at it before, maybe it's time to open your horizons and think a new thought, right? Just like what we're learning in this book. And Jean has disappeared again.
That was a dog. He wanted out. I'm sorry. I'm just a servant around here.
A humble servant at that, Jean.
People and
Give me so
dogs on the
much
wrong
love.
side of the door, right?
Gracie, you haven't said anything. I want to hear my Gracie.
Gracie's driving.
She might be busy right now.
Probably listening to Waze. I found a cool voice on my Waze, and it has such personality. It's the chief, the master chief, and it has this really deep voice, man's voice, and it's so funny. The things that it says when I get in the car, it says, "Buckle up." I love funny stuff.
Funny.
And we were talking about this morning on the morning show, to just have some laughter in your life, have more laughter, more giggles, more fun.
Mhm.
'Cause life should be fun.
We lost Gracie.
Yeah. I
Yes,
see.
I noticed.
She might have
Maybe
tried
I
to
scared her away.
unmute and went off.
Look
So
at my
any-
gray hair. Oh, everybody doesn't need to see that.
Anything else about the book? I'm enjoying it myself, and I hope that you all are as
I
well.
am enjoying it. I am.
Are we going to continue into January, or how are we going to work that?
Yeah, is this our second meeting about this book?
Yeah.
I
We're
think
about
so.
We usually
halfway through.
We usually do like 4 weeks on a book, unless
Yeah.
it's a short book. If it's a little short book, then we don't spend that much time on it. But I think the more we get into it and really understand more of what the work is, as she calls it, and we can help each other to understand more and share how it's affecting our own lives.
Charlie, I like the
Chapter
way
10.
you I was going to tell Charlie, I like the way he has a quote or a passage with a page number to talk about. It's then the other person can go back and read the rest of the page.
Yeah,
So thank you for doing that.
she has a quote like before each chapter.
Mhm.
Before each chapter, there's a quote, and yeah, and like chapter 5 is reality is always kinder than the stories we tell about it. We did that one time for one book. We all picked out a quote. You remember?
Wasn't that Matthew's book? Matthew
It was
McConaughey,
Matthew's book.
Yeah,
Right.
that was.
So
Green
maybe
Lights.
we ought to do that, but we'll wait for the last week. This way, next week we'll get everybody else on board. Because I'm only halfway through it. Another week. I'm by the end. And then we all can give our quote.
Charlie, could you read the quote before chapter 10 for me?
Chapter 10. I was just at 11. Chapter 10. That's 7. That's where I'm up to 7.
Gracie's back. Welcome back, Gracie.
Hi, Gracie. Are you there, Gracie?
I don't let go of my concepts. I meet them with understanding. Then they let go of me.
Oh.
Okay, I can understand that with what the chapter is about.
Right.
Okay.
Doing the work on any sort of situation. That's chapter 10. But the quote before it is, I don't let go of my concepts. I meet them with understanding. Then they let go of me. And then I'm free.
We're free. That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
That chapter, the one I'm reading, the chapter 10, is about a man who says his wife tells him he disgusts her. She said, I'm disgusted by the way you snore at night. I'm disgusted by your overweight body. All kinds of things like that.
I can relate to that one.
and she, I think she's off somewhere right now. Sounded like she was off in Europe somewhere with somebody. Anyway, and it turns out that when she goes through the questions with him, he has this ideal picture of a wife being like, what was her name? Donna, the perfect mother on television.
Donna Reed.
Donna Reed.
Mm-hmm.
That this is what a woman should be. And so he's always been trying to make her be in that mold. And she's really helping him change around for him to see that he has, that really and truly he's the one that's been making her seem bad because she doesn't fit in the mold that he has for a wife. It's really, really interesting. What I'm fascinated about is how fast he is coming along with her questions, how fast he's seeing that this is him and that he has to work on him, so that his last statement that I was listening to was that he was talented and sexy and handsome, that he has just let his thoughts make him feel this way. So it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. And I love that example, Jean. And when we think about some of the ways that, a spouse has been portrayed, not just wives, but husbands also, how they've been portrayed in some of, especially some of the older programs, and we think about, that perfect mom, like on Happy Days, there was the perfect mom. And that was shown in so many of those older sitcoms and programs on TV. And so we see where we can get that idea, or even from our upbringing, if we idolized one or the other of our parents, and it's like, oh, my spouse isn't what I thought this would be at all. The marriage isn't what I thought it would be. So yeah, I understand how we can learn from that one example of her helping him to come to that realization.
I really loved it.
If you think of a mold, you take it of a particular thing because it's different than everything else. And it's a mold. So if you try to fit into a mold, it's just not going to work because it's not you. The mold wasn't taken of you. You're trying to fit into it.
Great point, Linda.
That's true.
Trying to fit that heart into a circle or a square. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Jean's heart.
Yeah.
Well, we do the same thing to ourselves. I don't know about you all, but I will confess, I try to put myself in a mold of what I have as the idea of what a perfect wife should be, because of my upbringing, I didn't want to be like that. So I wanted to be like Donna Reed. I wanted to be the wife that got up and was perfectly dressed and loving to her kids and always happy and the greatest cook in the world and all this stuff. And I don't get in that mode at all.
We know you're
Teri
not.
can
You can think that all you want. You got to go what's real, what's reality. That's what the book is teaching us.
Yeah. Be more like Lucy. I love Lucy.
I love Lucy. And even she was kind of an ideal to me getting up and like, I don't want to be up and and all that stuff. And being in this family has helped an awful lot because you find yourself. You do. You find that you have been judging yourself worse than anybody could ever judge you all your life.
Just look at all the books we've done in the past year that, have, that you use the tools every day. It's like more tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like this book. I was telling Teri, now every time you think a thought, you say, okay, is that really true? Is that true? Okay, turn it around. I mean, you start using it right away.
It's like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Yeah. And it's just the fact that we can examine those thoughts. We don't think about that. We don't think, okay, I had that thought, but is it true? Let me just think about it for a minute instead of just going along with what that thought was. I love this.
And to think, and how many thoughts you have in a day. I mean, you're always thinking and God. And the whole thing is we've been doing this our whole life and we haven't been dealing with reality.
Right.
That's what she's getting into now in chapter 10 is stop thinking. You don't have to make decisions. Just let the decisions come. Just let it come. And that's the way she lives now. And so she's always relaxed. She's always in a loving mood. And I haven't gotten that far because, she talks about if the dishes are there, do the dishes. If the socks are there, do the socks. Whatever's before you, do what it is you need to do. And I'm not there yet. But I do understand what she's saying, that, we do think too much.
That's like the one with, what was it, the last book? We're picking up the clothes. You remember, Jean?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah. How can you be happy picking up clothes,
Just pick up the damn clothes. Why are you going to get all stressed out about it and everything else?
And analyze it.
Exactly. That was the last book, right? I think.
The last
think
book
it's
was
this
well,
one.
Mary Lou. I think it was the one before that.
Oh, the one before it. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Where is our Mary Lou today? She's missing in
Oh.
action.
Yeah. We'll have to get
I
her here
miss
next.
everybody.
Next week, yeah. See if we can
Get
get
her here
everybody in
next
next week.
week, and hopefully we'll have a lot more people next week. And
Yeah.
you know, it's holiday week between Christmas and New Year's, so
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people are doing things. So
That's true.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people have company, right, Jean?
Mhm.
Well, she's not company, really.
She's family.
I'm
Yeah,
hungry.
she's family. Believe me, she is, because
I have my own room. It's like I live here.
she has her own
Well, you do.
room. She gets
She has
up
her
and she'll
own
make
room
her
wherever
shakes
she
or
goes.
whatever, her snacks. She'll eat my cheesecake, whatever.
got her own room wherever you
I
go.
told her everything is hers, so she can do whatever.
Whatever's in front of me, even the dogs. The dogs are mine too.
And the dogs are her. Well, I lost the dogs as soon as she walked in the door.
They're adorable. And Christina says, keeping that in mind with my latest fumbles, LOL. Yeah, don't stress over it. Don't overanalyze it. Just do what we got to do, right? And this conversation will be continued next week on the
Next
Soul
week.
Food Book Club. And we'll decide about that next book, whether it's one of Michelle's or something else that comes up for us to look at. Look, we want to make that decision early enough that we have time to get the books, whatever it's going to be. So suggestions are welcomed. And thank you all for being with us today, those that are watching and those that are here on Zoom. So much love and appreciation to all of you. And let's leave everybody, as we always do, with
Namaste.
Namaste. And Hope is here. Hi, Hope. So glad that you're here. She said she didn't comment because she didn't want to get thrown off. That's happening with her on the internet. And Christina says, 1 foot in front of the other means a lot now. Yes, absolutely.
Literally.
Absolutely. Well, Christina, I hope you'll be able to join us next week, and we'll grab Aunt Mary Lou and maybe Stacy and anybody else that's missing in here today. So thank you for being here. We love you so much, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.